What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube verse? I am coming back with another fun little video. A little bit of talking about why I've been not really on here and what's been busy, and then also a little bit about something of some facts, along with about fish tank, fish water stuff, that sort of thing, and why it's not good to go sticking your hands in it and everything, and especially at pet stores and whatnot. But um, we've had a lot of issues with people staying at the store right now. Um, Outside of the one who left the store and whatnot, now there was someone that has medical issues that they are not able to come into work. So they're going to be fine in the end, but something happened so that right now they're kind of MIA. We know what's going on, though. They've been completely open with us. So if they ever get healthy and come back, I mean, we'd be cool to have them back on the team, definitely. They also want more of a part time thing, so we can fit part time in easier than full time. But yeah, we hurting on people now. It's getting to the point where I'm up on register a lot and whatnot. And not just me, but other managers and stuff too. These glasses keep glaring up and whatnot. But I have the window open, Rorschach's over there doing his thing, and then I like that the birds are out there chirping and stuff. I thought that was good ambience sort of a thing. Ambiance to the background rather than a soundtrack or something, especially for the way this channel's about. So with that, we've been very busy with work. My nose is itchy. It's allergy season, so that's why I keep doing this. I do apologize. I keep touching my face, but my nose is just itchy. It's not runny or anything, thank God. I can breathe through my nose still, but I have minor allergies. All folks. Anywho, back to talking Englishing. Um, it's been busy. That's the long story short there between the little bunny trail we took right there. Outside of that, now I'm going to go back into more work stuff. Really quickly talk about a fun experience, and I say fun loosely, of course. Um, but with my job, I work with animals. At the time, I was the only manager at the store, and I'm pretty sure these kids were trying to get like a little clip or something. And what they were doing is two of them walked in slightly different times and stuff. And they were both standing around in different parts of the aisles just talking on their phones. And that's kind of sketchy for someone like me. Like, I see that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, what are these kids doing? They coordinating trying to steal something? Are they trying to see if they can get in any of the animal enclosures or anything like that? Sure enough, one of my little hunches was a bit of correct. The one gentleman who was kind of looking at the fish, young man, probably they're 16 or 17 or something like that. I would assume they're no older than 18, and I'm pretty sure about that fact because they knew a girl who came in to get something who was 16 or 17 because she asked how old you have to be to buy a hamster, and I let her know for our store it is 18. It might be North Carolina law that it's 18. I'm not 100% sure about that. I know that older facts will say 16 or something like that for fish and stuff. But because of release rates and stuff, and with recent changes, I'm pretty sure you have to be at least 18 anywhere in North Carolina to be able to get anything outside of feeder animals. Now, if you already have an animal and you're getting something for your pet turtle, or if you're getting crickets for your pet lizard or something, that's totally okay. We don't mind the age. I mean, you're buying for an animal you guys already have, which means your parents already approve it. So in that case, that is completely okay. However, when it comes to actual goldfish like Toryukin, and you got Sarasas, you got fantails, those kind of goldfish outside the common goldfish, not for sale for anyone under 18. Hamsters not on sale for anyone under 18. Even neon tetra is something as small as a microfish as an ember tetra. No, not can't have that. Even snails, actually. Mystery snails have been kind of outlawed from pet stores. I do not know the full extent of that law. I've talked about it in an earlier thing. But yeah, even snails, any kind of snail, no, you have to be at least 18. So I asked him if he needed help with anything. I was figuring if he had questions, I'll be trying to kill him with kindness. When you know something's about to happen, kill him with kindness. But with that, no, I'm just looking to see what's cheapest or whatever. And it's like, all right, so pretty soon I'm going to have to tell this kid you have to be at least 18 to buy something. Because at this point, he might actually be trying to like do what some other kids have done and, try to sneak or meander their way into getting something. And at that point, if they're doing that, I know not even give them feeders. So unless I find out they're doing fishing or something, yeah, you can get some crickets or some of the worms. It's actually illegal to fish with comets and minnows and everything. So we do not do that. If we realize your fishing is extremely illegal and we are not just protecting you from being in trouble with the law, we're protecting ourselves from getting in trouble with the law. Because just in the same way, if a clerk at a store sells cigarettes to someone who's under the age, they can lose their job and get a fine. Very similar when it comes to animal. They're not messing around because invasive species are messing up environments and it's turning perfectly clear lakes into swamps. It hasn't done it yet, but we're taking invasive actions to make sure it doesn't happen. Or even, yeah, invasive, yeah. Actions against the invasive, yes. That's what I'm trying to say. Words. But, so when it finally came down to it, I'm there at the counter with the dude. We talking. The one guy who was out by the other side of the store with the food, he come up saying, hey, there's a kid. I think he goes to my school. He looks familiar to me. I think he's reaching into the tank and grabbing fish. And he shows me this video on the phone. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, there's a very good chance, unless they're using the net, they're not catching a goldfish. And sure enough, the guy should, oh, that's fun. Ambience of a trash truck thing. It's Wednesday. Trash day. I should have thought about that. Slight interruption to the story, but that's okay. And then, so we have lids that come up at our store, so no one can just put their hands in it. Kid found out he can lift the lid up, so reaches his arm in, and in the video, he's looking like he's scooping up something and bringing it to his mouth. And in my head, I'm thinking, there ain't no way he's catching fish. Those dudes are so fast. And if he is, it is just the comets, and I'm not going to flip out on the kid anyway, because it's not huge loss to our system, and also, thankfully, it was one of the largest tanks. And goldfish have a lot of resistance to a lot of just yuck and stuff to begin with, so if there was anything on his hands, mostly it wouldn't be anything too bad in small doses around that bigger tank, because the comet tank he was reaching to was the longest. It was the one lowest. So nothing I was worried about too much. He shouldn't be doing that, and there are some slight worries to what he was doing, and in extreme cases, it could lead to something that can cause huge problems, and we'll get into that. But for this situation, no. All I did is I walked back there with hustle. I wasn't running, but I walked with hustle, and the other kid was trailing behind me, right? Pretty sure he still had his phone out, and he started recording me behind me to see what my reaction would be. All I did, and here's a good example, if someone's trying to rage bait you or do something absolutely crazy. All I did is I just closed the lid, because the young man was just kind of crouched over and just looking into the tank, waiting for me to say something, I'm pretty sure. And I just closed the lid and said, please keep this closed. Or keep this closed, please. Pretty much I said, don't do that. And he said, what? I said, keep this closed, please. Or please keep this closed. I forget which way I said it. It was those words. But then once I did that, I said that, closed it. And in our office, we have the camera views and stuff and whatnot. Thankfully, where they were standing, it was one of the easiest views in the store. we protect ourselves, and it's known. We talk about it on the cameras and stuff. Like, it's on the doors for everything. Like, there's cameras in here, so act accordingly. Be kind. So I don't know if they pick up sound on them things. I never went through the recordings myself. Thankfully, we never had too much reason to. But with that thing, they just kind of walked out all buddy next to each other. They walked out together, in a sense. Now, they weren't holding hands or putting arms around their shoulders or nothing like that. When I said buddy, they obviously did know each other, and they obviously were friends the way they were walking out at the same time. So at that point, that was how it ended. And I had a situation almost a couple years ago where something very similar had happened, and I lost that test. I failed it. I actually blew up on the kids. It was not too long after Rain, my bunny, died. It was going to be my first, well, I say not that long, but it was going to be a year after that. And it was going to be my first Easter, of all things. And it was just the 1 year after my grandma died, that night before when my bunny died. And my bearded dragon passed away the weekend of that Easter. So in like 2 weeks. It was terrible, and I couldn't bring my bearded dragon to a vet until after Easter because almost nothing was open, especially when it comes to exotic animal vets in the North Carolina area around here. And the night of, so it was an illness. I couldn't tell what happened. Rain was old age. My grandmother, old age. They lived long lives and everything, but oof, it's a bummer. Stuff happens like that, and I was going through it because it was the 1 year anniversary of all that happening, and these kids came up and said, "Hey man, I'm in an argument with my girlfriend. Which one of these fish can I cook up for her as an apology?" And I got mad, and I shouted. I used some curse words, and I told them to leave, and that was wrong. You don't do that. You don't do that. So thankfully, when it came around again, I did the right thing. Now, let's get into the facts. If you made it this long into it, and you liked little story time almost sort of deal, stick around for a couple more minutes. Let's get some facts and about why you shouldn't do any of that. So, salmonella is very common in those waters. Not only that, but fish themselves are disgusting. Goldfish themselves, they have no stomach, so what they eat goes through them very quickly. They put a lot of stuff into the water. Also, fish do urinate, so there is ammonias and methanes and stuff in the waters, which is why we do these tests. Because the fish's gills, they urinate through that. So yes, it's because everything on a fish or shrimp is all towards the front of their body. Their back of their bodies are mostly their muscles and fins and stuff, which is why you can see some fish who were bitten like almost in half in the back and still living because nothing vital really got killed. Yes, they're in pain. Yes, it's terrible, but it's all the way that they're arranged, and it's different. Sorry, adjusting phone. And it's different than what it is with whales and dolphins. Their anatomy is different. Squids and octopuses, it's how you say it, are also, arranged differently. So, interesting things and facts, even stuff about oceans and whatnot. I mean, the way they're designed and whatnot. So, a lot of the stuff that goes right through them, water is very dirty. Those are the dangers to yourself, because especially because to the mouth and everything. And another reason why you can't eat fish from a pet store, it's because of the chemicals used to treat their illnesses. Stuff like Icex or something, or any of the ones that are similar, like the pond version, which is called Proform C or something like that. They actually make the fish poisonous, and you can't cook that poison out, even if you blacken the fish. Enough of it will cause, if you're dumb enough, fatality. But outside of that, you know, it's going to be a bad time. You're going to have all the signs of food poisoning and stuff. It's going to be terrible. So, not a good idea to do that either. Yeah. So, that prank should not work on you either or anything. You shouldn't get mad if people ask you about that. If it's from a pet store, it's pretty much inedible. And if you do eat it, you're going to have a rough time of it. And then outside of that, if you get sick putting your hands in there, that's not our fault. There's plenty of reasons, and we even had the blockade. We had the thing folded down, and he lifted it up and putting stuff. And I know other kids have done that at other stores too. Some stores don't even have the lids, and people will just reach their hands in there. Another thing you shouldn't do at a pet store: don't feed the fish. If you see someone with their fish food out, like the store clerk with the fish food out, and they're out doing something else, I don't think I need to say this, but there were adults at one store I worked at that were feeding our fish more than they should have, which is wrong because as the fish eat more, causes a spike in ammonia and stuff because they're pooping more. And then with that causes more of the bacteria that tries to eat that poop to develop. And it's a lot of this like cycle of imbalancing the systems everyone works so hard to balance. And then for the fish themselves, it's dangerous to even touch them or grab them with nets or stuff unless you know how to do it, unless you're trained, because slime coat is very important. If you ruin that slime coat, it can lead to fungal infection or ick. And then we can't even get into the stress that it causes the fish. Slamming on the glass or reaching your hands in or scooping them too quickly without knowing how to do it properly to keep them, from getting what their fish version of the bends is, then you're going to put them through stress, and then shock can kill a fish. It won't do it immediately. It'll happen within, I would say, even sometimes like 2 days to a week later, but it'll act weird. It wouldn't swim right. One bad moment can mess up an aquatic species into an early retirement. So, with that being said, and everything with that, I haven't done a lot of videos lately, so this is going to be a bit of a longer one. If you stuck until the end of this, you are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. You guys have been putting so much wonderful support. The animals have been doing so good, and I'm just thankful. I'm just so thankful. Y'all just keep being you, because you awesome. With that, have a good one. Peace out.